How's it going, everybody? Today I have here with me a very special guest, ShadowSamurai. He's the creator of the Season 12 Grand Prize, the Goliath, as well as the Season 4 Grand Prize, the Rattler. He's also a very prominent member of the Jailbreak community, as he is a tester for the game, and he is also one of the owners of JBMS. Thank you so much, Shadow, for taking the time to sit down with me today.
No problem.
So the first question I tend to ask the people I'm interviewing is, how did you come up with your Roblox username?
Well, back in 2017, it was my brother who first got into Roblox. He was very into ninjas at the time. So I decided to go the opposite way and be a samurai. The 720 comes from my birthday, July 20th. And I guess Shadow was kind of random, but now it's a big part of my identity. So yeah.
When did you first start playing Jailbreak, and what attracted you to the game?
I think I started around fall 2017. I honestly can't remember, it was a very long time ago. But one of my earliest memories was trains and how buggy they were lol. My younger brother definitely motivated me to keep grinding. And yeah, I guess I just didn't really stop.
When did you first start modeling, and what was the learning process like?
So I actually started modeling in like August 2020. My friend Maze had started Blender first, and I decided to follow his lead. He's also a Jailbreak Creations creator, made the Velocity spoiler. Anyway, we just wanted to make cars at the time. A year or so later, Jailbreak Creations opened, and I was able to use my previously honed talents to make the Rattler, which somehow managed to win despite being my first entry ever. Pretty insane luck for sure. I am still very thankful.
Now, talk to me a little more about the process of creating the Rattler. What inspiration did you have for it, and what was the process like of creating it?
That was pretty interesting. So I actually spent multiple days of the competition just thinking for ideas. Sometimes whenever I'd have one, I'd check the sub and see it already made by someone else. But eventually I came across a random post while scrolling Reddit about rat rods, and that was kind of the big moment of inspiration. I looked more into those types of cars and realized I wanted to model one. I also took aspects from stuff like Temple Run. The skull is based on the demon monkeys from that game XD. All because the tomb was heavily rumored at the time, and I wanted to make it fit that sort of theme.
Shifting over a year later, you now have another vehicle coming to the game in the form of the Goliath. Now talk to me about the process of creating that vehicle.
So the Rattler took like 10 days in total, but this one, yeesh. I think I've spent like 2 weeks working on stuff off and on. Mostly because of design choices. Cause when you model like a real car, you just follow the blueprint and reference images. But both of my in-game cars are pretty custom and not based on any one thing. So I had to look around at all sorts of things to make decisions on design and hone the quality of the model. The interior took a lot of work as well.
What is your reaction to the community reception of both vehicles?
It looks like people like the Goliath a lot, which I am happy about. Being a fictional design, I was worried a bunch of people would get mad that it wasn't legit military. A few did, and to those I am sorry. But at the same time, I am still proud that what I made could make most people happy. As for the Rattler, I'm honestly not totally sure what the general reception on that is lol. The people that do enjoy it let me know, and I am always happy to hear that. I'm definitely satisfied to have 2 unique vehicles in the game.
What was the process like of being chosen as a Jailbreak tester?
So I am gonna be honest. I got super lucky. Right place at the right time sort of thing. Don't know if you know who Real Resistance is.
Yeah, he's like a mod, right, for the Jailbreak Discord?
Yes, he was basically the first tester. Asimo picked him out because he tended to make sheets of bugs or something. And then Real recommended some people who helped him in the past. I was one of those people, so I managed to get in.
And what tasks do you guys usually do as testers? Like, what does Asimo typically ask you guys to do?
Oh yeah, we do a lot. Every tester kinda has a different specialty, but we all generally contribute. I definitely see myself as the vehicles guy. With the use of very legal methods, I am able to tweak performance and stuff like gear ratios. We also make heavy use of Google Sheets. We report everything we find for a month's update in one, and the devs try to address as much as possible. Usually works out, but some stuff doesn't make it. Our job is to break the features they add, find every way it can be cheesed and whatnot, and try to suggest fixes and balance ideas. There's a lot more to it. Testing is pretty crazy. But I don't wanna keep you listening for ages, so yeah. Just know we all work very hard to ensure quality updates and stuff.
What is your proudest accomplishment or achievement as a jailbreak tester?
So back in July, I think. That was the update that brought the snake and lots of refreshed materials and map design. It also changed vehicle materials. But there's one problem with that. In Roblox, materials have different masses. So like metal will obviously be heavier than plastic and whatnot. Unfortunately, jailbreak vehicles at the time had mass turned on for all body parts. So anytime you wanna change the look of something with materials, that would change weight, and therefore performance. From the testing build, I could see that if things went as planned, all vehicles would be heavier and a lot slower. I had to make a code that Asimo could use in Studio to automatically reformat the mass of all jailbreak cars. So the end result was exactly the same as before the update. In other words, I was able to prevent a speed nerf for all vehicles. A joke that some testers say is that I am the fourth dev.
Yeah, you basically are at this point. Like, I'm starting to think of you like that. Now they're using your input so much.
I do try hard to give special help when I can. I don't mean to brag or anything though.
They might as well call it Shadow now.
True.
Now we're going to shift over to JBMS. Shadow is one of the leaders of a Discord server devoted to jailbreak racing and other events. Talk to me a little bit about the start of JBMS.
So JBMS started in like September 2019. I think I was just playing in a random server and did some typical highway races with somebody. One thing led to another and I became friends with a guy named Scorch. He had bigger plans than just highway racing. He wanted to do endurance racing on custom tracks. It was all quite interesting, so I agreed and we started a group. It was just for friends at first, but eventually kept growing and growing. I think unspecified virus in 2020 honestly played a part. A lot of people stayed home and played more during that time. So we managed to get more growth. In December 2020, at the peak of JB DeLorean's popularity on Twitter, he gave us a shoutout and we got like 100 more people. And that was kinda when things got legit. We had a ton of people coming to races then. And yeah, it kind of continued like that for a while. Pretty active race management and whatnot. But it took a lot out of me. It's hard to keep that stuff going.
Yeah, I assume it's very difficult to run such a large community. So what would you say is your favorite aspect of JBMS?
I think my favorite thing is the history we've had. It really felt like a whole racing league. With all the drama of competition. And a few legendary races. We used to recreate the 24 Hours of Lemons, which is the world's biggest endurance race on a big track with torpedoes. And that was always interesting.
Dude, that sounds awesome. I would have loved to have seen that.
Maybe we should start it up again. We did it once per month. And the whole server tried to come and watch.
Yeah, that would be dope. I think a lot of people would love for it to return. I guess my last JBMS related question is, how did it feel having this group, which initially started out between friends, get so large that the devs actually recognized it and actually reference it in-game?
Definitely proud of that. There's actually quite a few references in the game now, yeah. I never could have imagined it when this started in 2019. But here we are, from the result of a lot of hard work and friends sticking together, I suppose.
Now we're going to shift over to the mailbag segment. Some of my fans sent in a few questions, which I'm going to ask you directly. First up, from Just a Random Pro, what is your favorite vehicle in Jailbreak and which YouTuber do you miss the most?
So that's like a really hard question plus a really easy question, lol. For vehicles it's hard to decide. I love a lot of them. All for different reasons. As you can probably guess, Rattler is definitely up there because driving your own work is very satisfying. But also, The Bloxy is honestly a pretty swag car too. Anyway, the YouTuber question is easy. I definitely miss Fender. His eye for small details could be a bit nitpicky sometimes, but it pushed me to hit high standards of quality. I still kept that in mind with the Goliath, and I think he would have liked it a lot.
Dr. Radium asks, what attracted you to Blender?
So as I said earlier, I think it was my friend Maze who helped me get into it. But a big personal motivation was to create my favorite cars. I think car modeling is the best way to pay tribute to one that you like. Something that you can drive in a game or show any angle of in a render. As opposed to like a drawing. Drawings are cool too, but models have a lot of potential. You can do so much with them, and it's great to have the ability to make them.
And for our final question, Polarization asks, out of all the grand prize submissions you've created, which one is your favorite?
Definitely the Poseidon. Now the post version honestly isn't the best. But later on I improved it, and now I can confidently say it is the most beautiful thing I have made on Blender ever.
What advice do you have for people who want to have their submissions added to the game someday?
That's a good one. So as I said earlier, I actually managed to win with my first submission ever, the Rattler. This was obviously a huge stroke of luck. But nowadays, with a lot more experience and even more consistent wins, I can say that the biggest thing you want to have is good ideas. You can be a super talented modeler, but with ideas that don't fit the theme or are too crazy for the game, you will not win. I wasn't that great of a modeler back when I made the Rattler. I was slow. But I tried my best to think of something that could meet 3 big points. 1. Be flashy enough for players to enjoy. Because I am sorry, but no one wants to grind 2 weeks for a pickup truck. 2. Be within the realm of possibility for the devs to add. Because expecting them to make a crazy new plane, for example, is too unrealistic. And 3. Fit the theme as well as possible. I used Temple Run and treasure elements to match with the rumored tomb robbery, and I think that worked. But yeah, those 3 points are generally good to follow for jailbreak creations.
And for my final question to you, ShadowSamurai, is there anything at all that you'd like to promote? Any future projects you'd like to talk about here, or any social media links you'd like to plug?
Oh, that's a cool question. The biggest next project I am working on is a car game called Carcore. Basically car parkour, and you do stuff like stunt races. I am currently working on the car chassis, and I want it to be similar to Jailbreaks but with more features. The game isn't complete yet, so I cannot link it. But stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I'll definitely make sure to check it out.
That's all, I suppose.
Alright, and that's gonna wrap up my interview with ShadowSamurai. Thank you so much, Shadow, for taking the time to sit with me today. I really enjoyed our conversation.
No problem, it was fun.
Make sure to go join JBMS if you haven't already. I'm gonna link it in the description. Likewise, make sure to go sub to Shadow's YouTube channel, Darkstar720, and follow him on Twitter, which I'll link in the description as well. Again, thank you so much, ShadowSamurai, and we'll see you later.